there you are. Come and join us for Event 1, Day 3 of the F1 Sim Racing World Championship 2025. If you're just joining us, you've missed us race in Australia, China and Bahrain. Did you miss much action? There's been 3 different race winners. And since I started this in 2017, this is the most open championship we have ever had. We now turn our attention to Jeddah. Will we have a 4th different race winner? Well, the time is now, and we are going to find out. Let's have a recap to start the show of yesterday's action and to hear from the drivers.
Barry Burrowland, Duncan Hoffman, Alvaro Caraton, Lucas Blakely and Josh Edu fall. Barry Burrowland and Lucas Blakely the shocks. Huge changes across the board as over the line we go. Extraordinary stuff and consternation.
Yeah, race obviously started off with qualifying P3. Really happy with that one, because once I'm in the top 5, I know I can fight for the win, of course.
They go out and we go racing in China once again. Ronha gets the jump, Ronha gets the apex, and Ronha gets the lead.
Yeah, just had to keep my head cool, make no mistakes.
Change of lead attempted. And heading on to the last lap, Jarno Opmeer gets the lead.
And I just managed to keep the lead on the long back straight.
Here we go. The apex is blocked. Brilliant late braking from Opmeer, who might have judged that one to perfection. Second one isn't finding the pace this stage, only 10th on the bubble. Jarno Opmeer out, Freddie Rasmussen out, Nicolas Longuet out. The big names are falling in this confounding championship.
Faster.
Is there a dive bomb move? Is there a way back to second place? There is on the apex. How about the apex? And now here we go. 3 wide. Will we get through? We're bagging wheels at huge speed. Pookie gets through once again.
3 wide into that corner. Are you kidding me, Alex?
Go.
Pookie is right there in second place. Is that going to be Pookie round the outside for the lead?
Look at this move. Will Broden be able to hang on? The answer's no.
I think there was 4 or 5 times I was quite scared I'm gonna get taken out or something.
The top 3 are almost glued together. Are we interested in another 3 wide moment?
Always side by side, so many actions.
Go.
That's a late send. On! Oh, it's cost him.
Australia, China, it was quite tough. And then coming to Bahrain, I really wanted a good point.
Faster, harder, higher, go.
It could have been anyone's race, but Barry Bowman crosses the line.
Well, it felt amazing. It didn't really feel like a win. It felt like I am back. Well, I'm just so happy right now that I won that race. It's probably one of the best races I've ever won in my career.
So there you have it, to bring you up to speed and welcome you to the desk as we see all the drivers around us in the background. I welcome again Alex Jakes, Matt Gallagher. Welcome back to the desk. The question I have written down here, are you having fun? That's the question.
Did it sound like we're having fun? The answer is yes. It's been incredible so far. Wide open, super aggressive, brilliant racing. And I don't know what we're going to see next, which is sometimes the case anyway, but it's certainly the case this year.
When the fun stops, stop. But definitely, Jakesy is saying no to stopping right now. Our last race of Event 1, it's gone very quickly. And at the same time, we've been really treated to such incredible on-track action. And I know the stewards haven't slept, so we will discuss that in the pre-race show. But Matt, what have you found
I think
so far?
Marcel Kiefer is still with them as well, trying to change the rules of the championship to his liking. But oh yeah, I mean, fun is... unpredictability is probably the word of the championship. And it's exactly what I signed up for, I'm sure we all did, watching at home as well. It's just incredible to see how close... Of course, we usually have a close championship, but we don't tend to see rookies, drivers with not a lot of experience coming right to the front and taking away the limelight from the old guard, if we can call them that. They're all sort of mid-20s. But yeah, it's fascinating to watch. And well, we've got Jeddah next.
Yes.
Which is famously calm.
Famously, yeah. Not a lot of slipstream, not a lot of overtakes.
Put that into context of why are we saying that for anyone who's never seen a race at Jeddah, Jakesy?
Just the slipstreaming, the fact you can't get away, the walls are close, highest corner count of the year. It's intense. You're 1 error away from not scoring, and there are plenty of drivers behind us already who can't afford to do that. This is a spectacular race in the Sim Racing Championship.
Jarno Opmeer picked up his 13th win of his race career in sim racing, and then Barry Brumond came along here and really kept Scuderia Ferrari's chances in the Constructors alive with that win. Both drivers joined us on the desk, but there was so much raw emotion from Barry. It was beautiful to see.
It was awesome. We know how much this sim racing championship means to Barry in particular. We've seen him win a few, and every single time the emotion is there. Little heart down the camera, and he knows what he's doing at this point. But he's so quick. And we were saying literally before the previous round, Ferrari have to score big points now. Of course, for Barry and his drivers' championship chances, it's helped him a lot. And of course, with Ferrari and that 25 points. But on the other side, of course, Nicolas Longuet still struggling at the moment in this season. He's going to need to finish the event on a high. He looked so down and so in his own head as well at the end of that particular round in Bahrain. And of course, Barry on the other side celebrating. And it was a very big mix of emotions.
You don't want to leave this event not on a high. And I think there's an opportunity, as you mentioned, Jakesy, for some drivers to really grab some points. One of those names is Freddie Rasmussen, as you'll see as we look at the driver standings. Drivers in the points right now, there he is. Not mentioned him yet, but you'll hear that name a lot. Ismail Fassi, last 6 races of last season's championship, didn't pick up any points. Look at him now. What a difference in a little bit of time. And then followed by the Hungarian duo of Istvan Puki and Jarno Otmir, doing a fantastic, Dutch driver Jarno Otmir, but Danny Berezny further down there. The Hungarians are running things for Mercedes.
I did just want to say, as people are looking at this driver standings, potentially for the first time, they might have not seen it on social media, there has been a change, which we will get into, as to why Jarno Otmir has lost points since we last put the driver standings, the provisional ones, after yesterday's race. And we're also going to get into exactly why things have happened as well. So don't worry, we will clear that up.
Yeah, that will be just before the race show later on at 1600 CET time. Mercedes on top, as I mentioned, the 2 Hungarians running the show. We didn't.
Doesn't the T stand for time?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And 1600. That's a bit early, isn't it?
We love you, Tom.
Okay.
Mercedes, top of the pile.
2100.
2100.
Look, I've made some notes here. They're not all visible at the moment. Just the excitement was definitely there. 1 point for Freddie Rasmussen. What did you make of that? That we wouldn't have had that on our cards of predictions.
So in previous years, you would have said, slow start for Freddie Rasmussen, bake that into your cake. We get that every single year, okay? So expect that. What's unusual, though, is that he didn't do that last year, and it was the bedrock for his championship challenge. Although, 1 year ago, this was the place where he got the win, and he started the run that took him to the title. So maybe he can take inspiration from last year in 2025.
However, if he wants to do that, he is going to have to be on track, Ismail Fassi. And he has got behind the camera and in front of it to record this beauty of a little guide to Jeddah.
My approach on Jeddah is basically carrying as much minimum speed as possible through every corner. You know, it's a track where it has many high-speed corners, also slow corners, but you want to gain time in those slow corners to maximize the time gained in those high-speed corners. For me, turn 4 is the most difficult corner on the track, as you have to carry a lot of minimum speed on a corner where the wall is very close to the inside of the corner, so you don't want to hit it, obviously, otherwise you would DNF. The best spots for me to overtake around Jeddah, I would say, is at the end of the main straight or the last corner, but you're under risk of getting re-overtaken down to turn 1, as the DRS detection is after the last corner. So the key of Jeddah is that you have to carry as much minimum speed as possible, as it's a very fast track.
We knew it was going to be a fun quali when I referred to Jarno Otmir as a Hungarian. Right then, here we go. First place there, Freddie Rasmussen last year. Thomas Ronha, no win yet for him. Could he be the 4th different driver to get a win today, Jakesy?
I think it's a pertinent question. I think you can guarantee he's going to be in the mix on the evidence that he's been in the mix for every single race win so far. The frustration for him will be that he's not been able to convert it, because he's been in position. He's effectively scored the try. He just needs to convert it. And that's the frustration. I think yesterday's race in Bahrain, there would have been a ton of people who felt, that one slipped away from me. But that's the case for Ronha and in all 3 so far.
A good evening for many of the drivers. Maybe an extra specially good night last night for the Scuderia Ferrari team. Claire Cotting, I welcome you to the show. You're with Ben right now.
I am indeed. Ben Goldie alongside me, the sporting manager for Ferrari. Moved over to another team as well. I seem to remember you were in a different colour last year. How has it been at Ferrari compared to Mercedes? I'm not setting you up to say something bad about Mercedes there. I'm just asking, has it been a fun start to your career in Ferrari?
yeah, I'm very happy and very fortunate with where I'm at, and obviously very fortunate to have worked for two brilliant teams. But yeah, loving life with Ferrari for the year ahead.
We spoke to the team throughout the last couple of days, and it's been a bit of a struggle. It has, just a kick-start of the season has been quite difficult until yesterday, and Barry Borman just went and won it. It was an incredible comeback from what looked to be maybe a team that was feeling a little bit jaded.
Yeah, it's definitely fair to say that things just haven't really clicked for us, until that moment, and we've made our life quite difficult for ourselves as well. Too many times we found ourselves out of position really for, how strong we are, and, it's not what we're about. And, it's great for Barry, massive relief yesterday, showed us everyone what we're all about and where we belong to be. And, the job for us now is to kind of pick up from that, use that as a springboard for the rest of the season, and keep the consistency going and get ourselves back where we should be in the overall standings.
Speaking of being out of position, Nicholas Longate obviously didn't have quite the same race as Barry Borman yesterday. Barry, however, immediately after celebrating went over to his teammate and gave him a massive hug, and he said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And that was so lovely to see. We've spoken so much about these two and their teamwork together, and that was a real moment of, that's why we celebrate it all the time.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what these guys are all about, and it's so true that we win as a team, we lose as a team. So if we're going to need the team championship, which obviously we won last year, then we need both of these guys performing and working well together. So that's the aim. We'll keep doing what we do, and these guys will have each other's back right the way through.
Okay, well, good luck, and thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you very much.
Hey. Great to hear from Ben there with the Scuderia Ferrari team. In terms of quali, we know how important it is. Alex, I'm going to call you Alex and Jakesy throughout today.
You do what you want, Tom.
Okay, thank you.
Final day.
AJ, listen, AJ, let's talk about this, because in quali, we say how important it is, and yet we've seen Esteban Pukki absolutely throw that out of the water in terms of what you can do with the race pace.
I mean, that was a ludicrous performance yesterday. He was passing people for fun. He was confident on different sets of tyres. He'll be so pleased with that. He'll be so pleased with how the whole championship is going. But we get DRS trains. We basically get one long carriage around this racetrack. So you don't want to get it wrong here, because otherwise you're really in a spot of bother. It can get wild. It can get aggressive. I think it's been super aggressive so far this year. So you count nothing out. But Pukki's been outstanding since he's joined the grid this year.
And Matt, for the drivers, when you think it's all against you and you're not going to get the race result you want, don't do a Tom Manley where you start saying it's all over. Yesterday, we saw it in Bahrain.
We did, and I think Tom Manley has learnt from his mistakes, and he was kind of having a minor argument, wasn't he, with his team? Like, no, it is over. No, it's not. No, it's not.
I like that. I like a driver-engineer argument.
Yeah, you do, watching and commentating. Probably not so much at the team, but of course, he still managed to come back through, because those soft tyre runners could not stop battling. They just had it out, punch for God knows how many laps. And Tom Manley brought himself back in, scored a huge amount of points, and that will be the kind of performance that we kind of expected from him as well. He has shown a huge amount of pace. I liken back to Australia, where he was coming through with Otmir, but wasn't able to utilise those last few laps. But he did so in Bahrain, and I fully expect him to be up there again. He's been very fast in qualifying.
Yeah, and of course, with quali, 1 point up for grab if you land on pole. Right then, Alex Jakes, Matt Gallagher, I'm going to head over that way and learn how to speak again, and then I will come back later on. Enjoy.
Good luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Tom. It is time to head to the Jeddah Corniche Circuit. I thought he spoke very well, personally.
Yeah, just the wrong words jumbled up, but it's fine.
Matt, such a critic. 27 turns. This place is an absolute epic. At high speed with the walls closed. 6.1 kilometers, 3.8 miles. DRS everywhere you look, in so many places. To bin your event, maybe your championship, if the first 3 rounds have not gone to plan. If you've not joined us for a qualifying session so far this year, we're going to see the drivers doing systems checks, effectively installation laps. Brendan Lee.
What confectionery does he have today? Brendan Lee,
Is there
anything to show us?
He's the furthest driver away from us, so I don't want to shout and disturb everyone, but he's in conversation with the engineering team at the moment. And hold on. Oh, he was getting prompted to show us the chockey. Never mind. Joni Tormala there looking on. He's got a new team for this year. Just want to reset it for anyone who hasn't joined us on all of the days as well. So there might be a little bit of repetition of information today. If you've been with us for the 2 previous days, really appreciate your company. We just want to make sure that everyone is up to speed. Green light at the end of the pit lane. Let's go out onto the Jeddah Corniche Circuit. I was watching the drivers prepare for this one. Wonderful privilege that we have to see the talent behind the wheel. I was looking at it, and I'm astounded by their ability all the time from this desk. But around here, it's millimeter fingertip stuff to thread the needle.
Yeah, the circuit is mesmerizing to watch. And yeah, we're very, very privileged to be here in the studio. We can stand behind a driver and just see the millimeter perfection that each and every one of these drivers have. Will they feel the need to push it a little bit too hard, and do we see some mistakes in this qualifying session due to that? And of course, with this game, as we've seen in the previous rounds, they're constantly just countering a bit of oversteer. It's quite difficult to control the car at times, and we could see a few mistakes out there. Track limits, of course, still very much a thing around here. And yeah, we'll keep an eye on that as well. But of course, we're here in Q1. We've got intermediate tyres. It's not raining. I will check before I do an Alex Jakes and say that there's going to be no rain for the entire session.
Oh my word!
Going to load up the
Deacon taking
the iPad of dreams. No, it's just it's soft loving. There we go. It is clear. Yeah. So we haven't got any rain forecast, which was interesting, wasn't it? When we had that moment where I believe it was it the racing balls? I'm trying to remember exactly where there was a little bit of a camouflaged conversation of go out there. Oh no, it was Ron Hart, I think it was, in the Kick Sauber. Just go out there, set a lap time, and don't do anything else.
Yes.
And, we won't have that in this session because it's completely dry.
So a traditional session. Matt saying all of that to you whilst the car's on the intermediate tyre. That is just the systems check. They're going out there, not using a tyre that they need. This circuit designed to be the fastest street circuit on the planet, part of the Formula 1 Grand Prix World Championship calendar since 2021. Love this corner. Absolutely love this corner. It's banked. You've got a little bit of camber to play with. You can get brave on the exit. Through turn 13 we go. And given how leery the drivers have been, kicking the rear end out, I'm intrigued to see whether they're breaking traction at any stage of the next part of the circuit, where you are essentially just feeding your way through, or effectively chicanes, on the way back. Couple of hairpins at either end of the circuit, but this is a really, really tough test. And I'm really excited for this one because it was wild stuff last year. Our winner last year was Freddie Rasmussen. He was ahead of Thomas Ronhaar. And then look who got his first podium in the championship a year ago. Our current championship leader, Mr. Fassi, returning to happy hunting ground as we get up and running with Fabrizio Donoso. He's been with us for a long time, on and off, but he's back behind the wheel of the Aston Martin. Didn't take part in the entire event, but he's the choice to go racing around the Jeddah Corniche Circuit.
So whilst we're doing this Q1 podcast, which we always do, I'm going to answer a question that you give you an answer to a question you haven't actually asked me, and that is 2 drivers that need to perform in this particular race, the final one of Event 1, and it's Lucas Blakely and Nicholas Longe. Absolutely.
And as if by magic.
I mean, I did not actually say this to the production team to go straight to Ferrari, so they are clearly in the know.
Yeah.
But Nicholas Longe, who is kind of looking towards us right now, so I don't want to talk too loud, because he'll hear me.
There was a bit yesterday where he took his headphone off.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was going to tap you on the shoulder and say, let's just remind
just move
everyone
on.
how quick he is. And he is rapid, and that's why it's such a surprise, right?
Exactly. That's why, he just
8
needs...
times on pole position in the championship.
He needs a clear run. 3 wins as well. He just needs a clean weekend. A weekend obviously being qualifying in the race, obviously not Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
But he's got it. He's got the potential. Every single driver knows how quick Nicholas Longe is. Barry Burman, of course, he was singing his praises for his teammates at the end of yesterday. He just needs a clean weekend. He's looking over to me right now. Have a clean weekend, my friend. He knows now that I'm completely talking about it. But a nice little smile. Barry as well there. Good camaraderie between the two of them.
They've got a wonderful relationship between teammates, and when it's not going your way in an event, that is so important. You don't want to be sitting with your own thoughts. You want to be picked up.
Yeah.
Sometimes when it's not gone entirely to plan, nothing is going to make you feel better But silence can definitely make you feel worse. And Barry Burman's a superb teammate to Nicolas Longuet.
He is, and I think as well, as much as it would have hurt in some ways for Nicolas to see his teammate win in the sense of, I should have been up there as well, it also shows that a season can turn around so quickly.
Yeah.
Barry Burman was in exactly the same position as Longuet before Bahrain, where he was struggling, not being able to pick up results. So that is an example that Nicolas will have in his head. And hope for his sake, he can take it to the track here in qualifying. He needs to make it through to Q3. Barry Burman now bringing us probably the 5th yawn of the season so far. But clearly that's part of their preparation before they go out.
Yeah, the other name you mentioned, former champion Lucas Blakely. Lucas Blakely in contention at the front, started on the front row for the last round and then found himself shuffled backwards after getting 2 hits to the front wing, dropped him out of the points.
Yes, the chaos of that race, I think I said it in commentary, I was so surprised to not see more drivers caught up, spun around, picking up damage. Lucas Blakely sadly was one of the drivers to take the biggest hit there. It was around his favourite track, he was feeling good, he'd qualified incredibly well on the front row of the grid, but sadly for him, that would have been a gut punch for him, because I'm sure he would have believed this is the time my season turns around. So resetting from then, considering it was literally yesterday evening, will be hard, but these are professional F1 sim racing drivers, and that's why they're a lot better than I am.
You've got Lucas Blakely, who finished 4th here last year around the circuit as well. That was his result in last year's competition out across 2023 and 2024. And everyone is just waiting.
That man, Jake Benham, finally gets his opportunity to go out there in the Mercedes. A little bit disappointed he was to not be drafted for the first 2 races. And of course, you know, you're a competitive racer. You want to be there every single race, especially at the start of the season. He's in the car now. I spoke to him, because of course we're all in the same hotel, so we all just speak to each other. And I was chatting to Jake and he was saying, yeah, it's obviously disappointing to not be in the car, but I can win this one. And that's the confidence that he is exuding through there. He's laughing now. You can see there's not a huge amount of nerves by the looks of things from the outside. But he believes he can be right at the front, and he's going to need to if he wants to get drafted for the rest of the season as well.
It would be in keeping with this fantastic championship that we're having so far. We're looking at the Alpine team. Let's check in with their drivers in conversation.
To tell us some jokes, but be smart and only good jokes.
That's it. I'm googling knock jokes right now.
Well, we can't. Yanni won't tell us who's there.
You have few minutes to tell us some.
Maybe we'll get part 2.
This is such a strange atmosphere in here today that there are literally drivers laughing with each other at the moment.
So day 1, super intense.
Yep.
You could tell that first day nerves. Second day, really, really mixed. You were getting complaints about drivers celebrating and all sorts, right? Today, everyone's kind of chilled.
Yeah.
There's a lot of laughter going on. There's a lot of yawning going on.
Shall we come back to this point in 3 hours' time when we have the race?
When it's completely manic,
probably got the
when
most
it's
chaotic
mayhem, I'm delighted to tell you cars are peeling out of the pit lane.
And whilst they're doing this, Alex, just to go back to my point about Mercedes and Jake Benham, the driver that's second in the championship, Pookie, is not driving in this race. That's massive for his chances of a championship that maybe he didn't expect coming into this, and maybe even agreed, yeah, no worries, Jake Benham can have my place for the 3rd race, or 4th race, sorry.
Well, he justified his selection, didn't he?
Yeah.
He more than justified his selection. As you say, massive impact on the Drivers' Championship. 3 drivers in each team. You can deploy them any way you like across the championship. And it's now time for the outlaps. It's now time for our first push laps of the final day of Event 1 of the Sim Racing Championship in 2025. And we welcome the driver that Matt was talking about, Jake Benham, back behind the wheel, trying and hoping and certain that he can prove his selection for this part of the championship and deliver. Mercedes clearly laying out their cards and saying, we'll have the Constructors' title, thank you very much.
Yeah, that's where the big money is. Of course, there is still quite a sizable chunk in the Drivers' Championship as well, and I'm sure it would have hurt Pookie a little bit to not be involved in this session. But Jake Benham, he needs to push on. It's a double amount of pressure, isn't it? One, you're literally competing in the F1 Sim Racing Championship with cameras, lights, and a lot of people watching you. But also, on top of that, you have to prove your worth to your own team to try and get drafted into the top 2. But I think Mercedes are in a great spot, if they can manage their 3 drivers, of having 3 excellent talents to be able to draft in and out as they choose.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nicolas Longuet, driver that we were talking about, finds himself moving through the first sector of the Jeddah Corniche Circuit. The driver who finds himself down in 11th place. And in the standings, that is, he scored 7th place all season long, despite showing better pace than that at different stages of qualifying and the race. Let's listen into the commitment of turn 13.
Longuet on his way. Of course, you see on the top left the yellow flag out there, but that is due to slow-moving cars. A lot of drivers on an outlap, as you can see, on the left-hand side of your screen. We've got Otmir, Brumand, you've got Tormela, Edu and Lee quite closely behind Longuet. Of course, if you missed the slipstreaming drama, let's call it, there's been a change to that now in terms of qualifying. They cannot slipstream each other. They have to be within 3 seconds or over 3 seconds of the car ahead. So no slipstreaming allowed to enable that we see the fastest driver set the fastest time without any kind of aids or things to help them on their way, or luck, or RNG, as Marcel loved to call it in previous shows gone by. Longuet over the line now for the first lap in Q1, and it's a 1 minute 26.985.
Yeah, you can't cut that white line on the left-hand side in the real thing, but there's nothing in the race director's notes about doing it in the game, and so the drivers are maximising the shortest route to the line. You can see it in the background there with Brendan Lee going over the line. It's Jarno Otmir, then Joni Tormela, and it's Josh Edu, his teammate, slotting in the Alpine. Nicolas Longuet is in 4th position, and then Brendan Lee is the driver that we're on board with, as Alfie Butcher goes P2, make that P3, because Freddie Rasmussen was P1. He's just being replaced by the championship leader, Ismail Fassi.
Love the way you craft your words there, Alex. You're like, yeah, was now, because Fassi goes fastest, because we constantly have an ever-changing leaderboard, as we have Jake Benham coming over the line. P9. Don't think he'll be overly happy with that one, because it already puts pressure on you. 2 minutes ago, he's excited probably that he's in the F1 Sim Racing World Championship on the main stage. Now he's down to 13th, pressure on him, and he needs to deliver next lap.
Tom Manley is the driver that we're on board with, the driver occupying 5th place. Danny Beresnay, 2 times on the podium so far this season, and finds himself in 8th position. And
Ferrari,
nice effort
Alex.
for him.
Ferrari, 16th and 20th after the first runs.
Yeah, it's well, they ran early, didn't they? They went out there very, very early, and we'll see whether they have something for the second runs. But we have under 5 minutes to go. Ferrari, our most recent race winners, thanks to a brilliant, scrappy performance when it comes to Barry Borrowman. It was just superb.
And an aggressive one on the strategy as well.
Yeah,
starting on the
really
medium tyres, was able to be the tyre whisperer on that strategy. He said in the post-race interview with us that it wasn't easy. He couldn't just push, full push the whole time, because he had to make sure those mediums went a long enough distance in the race. It was fantastic. You fast forward to tomorrow, he's the slowest in qualifying right now. That is F1 Sim Racing Championship 2025 in a nutshell.
Yeah, it really is. And it means that consistency is going to be rewarded so much. Something that Pookie will be feeling at this moment as he watches on. Everyone trails back to the pits, having completed their first runs. Ismail Fassi, P1 again. He's chasing his 3rd pole position of the season. He'd never achieved that until this year. This is his 2nd year in the championship, and in all disciplines, looking really, really strong. Maybe a risk taken yesterday with a late move that could have cost him a points finish, could have cost him points for the championship, and it's not that one, I promise, but they are working out how much room there is out there, and Tom Manley is peeling back to the pit lane. Tom Manley with a superb run through the field yesterday, and kept his head. We thought it was a podium. It was eventually a 4th place, but it was a fine 4th place, considering he was on the wrong tyre for basically the entire race.
Taking a look at Fassi there, if he's able to get 3 poles out of 4 races in event 1, considering the margins, that is an incredible achievement.
We do sometimes see it, don't we, with a different game, that you get new names brought to the front of the field. This is a circuit where he has great experience and success from last year. But as you say, Matt, if you can, in a field like this, turn up, score 3 pole positions out of 4, I mean, it's going beyond brilliantly and beyond his wildest expectations. He said he couldn't believe he was on pole for the opening race of the year. Imagine getting 3 out of 4. Long way to go. We're, of course, focusing on the bottom 5. A bottom 5 at the moment. That includes Nicholas Longuet, Brendan Lee, Lucas Blakely, and Barry Burrowman, our race winner as well from yesterday. And that is almost extraordinary if you consider how many race winners and champions we've got in that mix.
Okay,
Declan Barrett as well. Sorry, I didn't mean to miss him out. He's in 19th.
No problem. I'm sure he'll forgive you, Alex.
He better.
I don't think that's how apologies work. You can see the top 6 at the moment, all not going out for a second lap in Q1, trying to save a set of tyres for the upcoming sessions. Ron Haar, of course, the most vulnerable of the drivers in terms of sitting in 6th place on a 26.804. But once again, believing that there won't be a massive improvement and that, of course, the 5 slowest drivers will not go faster than a 1 minute 26.804. We will see. Of course, there is track evolution, a minor amount as we get to the end of this session. There will be improvements out there, but it's an educated guess, probably mostly certain that they'll get through. There's always a chance that some of these drivers hit personal bests and cause us a shock.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Into the crucial stages. And Declan Barrett currently in 19th position. This is going to be his 2nd race of the year. He finished just 1 place outside of the points in our frantic finish in Melbourne to start this championship off. And we wish him luck in the next couple of moments because everyone in the drop zone needs a lap to improve. There'll be some nervy glances over the shoulders. It's always a moment where you have to take a step forward and improve. We have some drivers who have already bailed out of this session because they have done enough, and we're focusing on the Racing Bull driver, Declan Barrett, who makes his way through. It's really, so you're scrubbing off way more speed than it appears through this section. Then it's going to get quicker as we make our way through. Great rhythm, great practice required around here, and they put so many hours in, ludicrous hours in. You're looking at different drivers being distributed at different races so that they can maximize their time around certain tracks, and Barrett is going pedal to the metal around one of the fastest circuits in Formula 1.
So I'm keeping a very close eye on the live timing right now, Alex. Declan Barrett, 10th and a half down on the fastest first sector. Barry Burrowman also a 10th down on the fastest we've seen. Same for Lucas Blakely. Nicholas Longuet has done a very strong 31.6, which is a 10th quicker than his teammate and very close to the optimum that we have seen. Jake Benham has put in a very nice first sector as well. So we're seeing improvements out there. Barry Burrowman has done a strong middle sector. Barrett, 2.5 tenths slower than that. So this will be, I think he's going to struggle to make the top 15.
Yeah, big pressure. 27th and final turn on the racetrack. Crank on the aggressive steering lock, avoid the wall on the right-hand side, and then go up through the gears. You've done the hard work, and now it's time to take it across the line. Who are we going to lose from this session? Barrett will be the first of the drivers. Barry Burrowman only gets to 14th. He's vulnerable. Our most recent race winner. How about Lucas Blakely? 10th is better for the McLaren man. Jake Benham is next. Jake Benham is going over the line to 3rd. He needed a big lap, and Barry Burrowman is going to fall at the first hurdle. We are still waiting to see what Longuet can do. He moves to 14th. Can he squeak his way through? He's already down to 15th. And is there going to be an improvement out there? Brendan Lee is the driver we're now on board with. Can he displace Nicholas Longuet and manage to fight his way through? He can't. It's 17th for Brendan Lee. It's Crozen, then Lee, then Donoso, Burrowman and Barrett, as we find a great lap there for Donoso. And that means that both Ferraris are into the drop zone at the start of Q1. Once again, another enormous shock. Once again, we have a former world champion and we have multiple race winners out in the first part of qualifying after a late lap at the end by Donoso in the Aston Martin. Means that those guys are spectators for the remainder of qualifying.
What is going on? A double Ferrari knockout in Q1. Barry Burrowman won the last race sensationally. And we now have Longuet out again, a qualifying specialist. Barry Burman is no slouch either. And then, of course, Joris Krozen have been phenomenal in qualifying so far this year. So Krozen is almost a minor shock as well. Brendan Lee struggling. And, of course, Declan Barrett, you can kind of forgive him for being slowest of the runners. But, again, what are we doing here? I cannot believe how this season is unfolding. And Ferrari, they have got a lot of work to do when we get to the race later on.
Disappointment for Brendan Lee, as you say. Joris Krozen has managed to put it in Q3 earlier this year. Nicolas Longuet was the driver closest to getting through. Disappointment for him. And Declan Barrett, you saw the commitment that he was showing and how good it looked through 21 and 22. But once again, we are having big names heading out. Well, he was our most recent race winner, but he has exited in Q1. Claire Cottingham is talking to Barry Burman.
You really have to take the highs and the lows here in Formula One sim racing. And today we are seeing that with you, Barry. Unfortunate out there. Can you just talk me through what happened?
Yeah, I mean, I think I made a really big mistake in the chicane, and then it cost me a lot of lap time. But I think in general we took everything wrong in Jeddah. Our setup didn't have any pace, and the pace that everyone has was way faster than what we expected. So I don't know. We just have to analyze it and see what was the problem, because obviously after the first run it was not a clean lap, but at the same time we just realized we had no pace. We basically have no pace. So yeah, last run maybe I just over pushed too much on the braking and then I lost the car. But in general, I think we would barely go to Q3 with this pace. So really disappointed, but at the same time I'm just really gutted that why we are so slow, you know.
Where does that leave you for the race? Jeddah's such a wide open track, isn't it? That so much can happen. I feel like I say there's about so many different racetracks, but Jeddah really is one of those.
Yeah, obviously we just have to focus on the race now. I mean, it's a really bad position, P16, P19. But yeah, I don't know what was wrong. Obviously, I didn't drove the perfect as well, but at the same time, Jeddah is always a really tricky track. So basically, for Q1, you want to have an advantage to take it really, like a really normal lap you want to go through. But yeah, I guess we just have to see.
Any advantage of having your teammates so close?
I mean, it's an advantage if we are close at the top. When we are close at the back, it's basically no advantage. But yeah, I don't know. We just have to analyze it and see what was wrong.
Bad luck, Barry.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Barry Burman talking to us after taking the win yesterday. So both Ferraris out in Q1, and you really feel for both of them, especially Nicolas Longuet. It's not going his way, and you never want to see a proven driver struggling to accept the form underneath them. This means so much to all the drivers, and we appreciate all of their work behind the wheel. Sometimes it's all going your way, and sometimes you can't find an answer. It's a long championship, lots can happen, and we're going to see plenty out there on the racetrack at the moment. Q2, and we're going to see the drivers back out there once again. We won't get the complete no-show for a while. We're going to get drivers out there on old tyres potentially, and trying to see where they can steal a tenth, well, not a tenth or two, maybe a thousandth or two. It's going to come down to that, isn't it? Because it is going to be ludicrously tight by the end of qualifying.
Absolutely. It's sad to see with Barry Burman in that interview crash back down to, is it reality? Is it just what this sim racing championship is providing most drivers out there? It's hard to know, but yeah, he'll take a tiny bit of solace in the fact that literally anything can happen around this circuit. It is going to be carnage. There are going to be drivers that pick up damage, and they're just going to have to pick their battles wisely. Of course, Longuet a little bit further ahead in 16th, still miles back, but yeah, they're just going to have to play it by ear, see what happens, because I do forecast quite a bit of dive bombs, quite a bit of 3 wides. I've heard maybe there might even be a 5 wide going into the final corner. That's what I've been told by one of the drivers. I'm like, how do we even commentate that? How do you even identify 5 at the same time?
You just filler words and then hope that someone's ahead by the exit of the corner.
Yeah, nice, thank you.
We'll have some fun later on. Thomas Ronhart It's a great pace. Every type of circuit that we visited so far in 2025. And is this the day that he upgrades his position from last year and takes it from second in the order, having climbed 4 places from his original starting position, to the podium. Can he upgrade it to the win? Oh, that just shows you. You brush the wall at 21. You get bounced over the apex curve. That's the end of your lap. And if you do that at the crucial moment, when the track rub it in, world of trouble.
I'd be wincing a little bit.
Yeah.
But of course, Ron Haas and all of these drivers have done thousands of laps on every single circuit, and I'm sure he understood the mistake he made there. That's obviously a very crucial corner for track limits there. And Ron Haas just pushing the boundaries on that one, trying to see what he can do, because of course it doesn't really matter these ones if they're on a lap where the soft tyres are a little bit older after being used in Q1. As we have a couple of laps on the board. Manley fastest at the moment with a 26.977. Ron Hart will come into the pits on this lap. But yeah, not a lot to really show at the moment in terms of lap times. Jarno Opmeer at 27 flat in second place as well. But we have half the grid in the pits at the moment as well.
We do indeed. So this is just the early stages. Good to see different drivers back out there once again. Alvaro Caraton restored to the team. Danny Perezne is back to the pits. He's got a new teammate for this round in Jake Benham. And these early runs being completed, not going to be the most representative, but either way, get your eye in. And better to make the mistake that Ron Hart did, very much like the second chicane at the swimming pool at Monaco, that if you get too greedy on the apex, you will be spat into the exit wall, or at the very least, with this circuit, beyond the 4 white lines. And when it comes to qualifying, there's no chance to appeal, there's no chance to plead your case, you're just out and you have to deal with the repercussions as a result.
I find it fascinating after hearing from Barry Burramund around the expectations that teams have about what a fast lap is around a circuit, especially this year. Of course, I spoke to Wilson Hughes, who shall be known as the GOAT, according to him.
How on earth did this happen?
He just said, if you mention me, call me the GOAT. And so they're clipping up each and every one that myself and Tom Deacon say, apparently.
I see, nice.
Putting it in a compilation.
Nice, I like it.
But Wilson Hughes, a couple of races ago, gave me an estimate of a lap time, and that was before we had the whole slipstream saga.
Slipstream gate.
And that was,
Don't call it slipstream gate.
3-4 tenths quicker than what they'd estimated. And similar here, where Barry said, we just got the setup wrong. And you think of the amount of prep they've done, the amount of data analysis, and they've gone, wait, other teams have got a jump on us.
Yeah, very, very, very unusual, especially if you consider that the setup that Ferrari have, that the investment that Ferrari put in. But that's the nature of competition at the sharp end. This is F1 Sim Racing in 2025, and we're seeing plenty of shocks and surprises, but to be honest, if it's getting to this stage, it's not a shock, is it? It's not a surprise. We just have to take it as we find it, and we find it ultra competitive. We're going to get our next proper installment of qualifying now as we move into Q2, and it is very much going to be the turn of the remaining 15 drivers to show us what they can do to head out there onto the circuit and try and find a lap good enough for the top 10. And starting inside the top 10, where it can completely change the game. Remember what Pookie did yesterday, just roared through the field anyway. So there are opportunities even if it's gone wrong, but we have seen our main contenders starting towards the front so far, despite the fact that the races have been changed by different strategies and different attempts, like coming in early, getting to the fresh rubber. That's been a story all the way through. Wonder if we'll get more of the same. The weather conditions are expected to stay dry. That can be different, despite the fact that we are racing in Jeddah. We could have had rain in the game, and Tom Manley's out there at the moment. He's the only one who's posted a time, but the real time's coming your way in a few moments.
You'll be pleased to know, the podcast of Q2 is almost over, and we will get underway for some fast, ferocious laps around this. It's just such an aggressive racetrack, isn't it? It's so quick, and a lot of mistakes, I'm sure, for a lot of people at home that play this game. But for these drivers, you rarely see them. Jake Benham we're riding on board with right now. Into turn 1 we go. Beautifully negotiating the first couple of corners. And Benham, getting through Q1. Very important for him, ticking a box there. As I say, coming with a lot of confidence into this one. So much grip with these cars. You can see how they just fly these things into here. It's unbelievable to watch. Just watch this. Be careful on the curb on the exit there, but Benham gets away with it, and he's pushing on very hard indeed on this first flying lap of Q2.
Certainly is. Let's check in with one of our contenders. Thomas Ronhaar is out there.
Was I the fastest? Just ignore the validation, but was I faster even either way?
You were the fastest of those that completed their laps, yes.
Even all the invalid ones?
Even all the invalid ones.
Check all the invalidations just to make sure. He wants his engineering information to be accurate. 6 minutes and 37 seconds to go. You're on board with Jake Benham, who told Matt Gallagher ahead of the event that he was confident that he could mix it at the very front. So the number one prerequisite of the weekend, if you're going to do that, is to get yourself into the top 10 shootout. This is his first real run in Q2. Out of the final corner of this long racetrack that runs to 6.1 kilometers. He's going to cut the beam. He's going to go over the line, and he's invalidated around the 27 turns as Gao goes top.
Gao very quick indeed out there. I don't think it would have been a particularly representative time from Jake Benham. If I'm looking at the sectors, he was 2-3 tenths slower than what Gao was achieving. Otis Lawrence has gone a couple of tenths slower than Gal, as Freddie Rasmussen now comes over the line and slots in to P3. Gal has put in a brilliant lap time here in this first flurry of laps in Q2. What can Joni Tormler do as Alfie Butcher comes over the line? Another invalidated lap. This is what we were saying about the track limits, and there are some corners, like we saw on board with Ronhaar, where they really do struggle, these drivers, as Jarno Opmeer goes to the top of the timesheets.
Our former champion takes his place in third position. Tamas Galler's in second. Ismail Fassi is in third place, our current championship leader. And Tom Manley, fourth place yesterday in the Bahrain race, was momentarily P1. He has been displaced by Thomas Ronhaar, and Alvaro Carreton goes ahead of his championship leading teammate. Danny Beresne's in seventh, and it's Josh Edu, Lucas Blakely and Otis Lawrence, who finds himself in 10th position. We're yet to see efforts from drivers who have invalidated out there, might be running slightly out of sequence, but Ronhaar again, everywhere we go. Ronhaar in the mix, and that's not going to change by the looks of things tonight.
Ronhaar very quick around here. He's very quick most places, but this is one that he particularly enjoys, and I did love his team comms there. Even though he was on an older set of tyres and doing a lap, he just wanted to see if he was more dialed in than the other ones, which is fantastic. He's constantly dialed in, constantly wanting to know all the information. And Ronhaar at the top at the moment. Of course, we have another run for the drivers that fancy another one. Of course, the likes of Ronhaar, Manley, Opmeer might be thinking, I don't want to go out again. I think I'm going to make it through to Q3 without using another set of tyres, which will allow them, if they hadn't saved a set in Q1, to take 2 sets into the final part of qualifying, which is important around here. Put in a banker and then really go for pole position with your final lap. But Ronhaar impressing at the moment.
Yeah, he really is. The driver who finished runner-up last year, looking to go one better. And can he take advantage of the man who beat him to the title last year's poor start? Freddie Rasmussen is a driver who got off to a much better overall campaign at the beginning last year, and then was able to carry that momentum all the way through to the final race of the year, where he was crowned sim racing champion for the very first time. Ronhaar, Manley, Opmeer, Gao, Carreton back in the field, back ahead of the championship leader. Fassi is in 6th, and it's Beresne, who seems to be driving with real confidence. It might seem ridiculous to say that for 7th place at the moment, but the consistency could go a long way in this championship season. And then Josh Edu, Lucas Blakely and Otis Lawrence, who started like a absolute rocket in the first 2 rounds and is now getting used to the circuits as they come along. Hugely impressive for a 16-year-old rookie, though, so far. As Matt, we have a breather building up to a crucial moment. These are the next minutes that are going to decide whether we lose even more heavy hitters from this championship.
Well, we're expecting it now, aren't we, after the Ferrari double elimination in Q1. Who is going to be next to fall? We'll find out in a few minutes' time. There's Josh Edu. Saw him in the gym earlier. God, that man's strong. My goodness gracious me.
That's the insights we need.
I was saying to him, mate, don't go too hard, though. I want to still see you turning the steering wheel without wincing.
Not to make you feel bad.
No, yeah, of course, yeah. But yeah, Josh Edu was very confident, very happy at Alpine as well. The fact that he's moved over there, he's happy that can be a lead driver, be drafted all the time. Maybe a little bit of pressure has been washed off of him after being at Red Bull. And we're seeing that as well. Josh Edu has shown some potential this year so far. A great outing in Bahrain. Can he follow it up again in Saudi?
Yeah, he's hoping so. Thomas Gall believes that he has done enough. Danny Bresnay remaining in the pits. And so is Thomas Ronhaar, so is Tom Manley, and so is Jarno Opmeer, given those penalties after we went off air yesterday. And third in the standings as a result. He dropped out of the points, and it's Pookie in second, not racing today. Opmeer in third on 38 points. And we're looking at the driver in question now with Red Bull, his new team for 2025. And we've got Rasmussen in the drop zone, Donoso, who had a last lap improvement to get through into this session. Jake Benham, who's trying to, it's not easy to just jump in and immediately find the pace when everyone else has got a couple of rounds under their belt. That's his task in the next few minutes. And then Alfie Butcher, who invalidated. Joni Tormela, 15th at the moment. He's the second Alpine driver in the field.
It's interesting, Gall has retired, said, nope, I don't need to go out again for Q3. The top three, I believe, have taken a fresh set already from Q1, so feel like they've got a set to spare. They can go out there and set a flying lap in this final part of qualifying as Lawrence throws the car in. You can see the back end stepping out a little bit as well. Can Lawrence make it through to Q3 again? Of course, he struggled in qualifying in Bahrain, apart from the other races that we saw where he was lightning quick. Can he return to the form that we've seen in those first couple of races and end event one on a high? He's a 10th.5 up on his previous lap time through the first sector. Of course, he's down in 10th at the moment. He's going to need a big improvement from that one. And if you're wondering where that says, that top right of your screen where the timing is, oh, that's a little bit wide, and he would have lost a bit of momentum there as well with Lawrence pushed a little bit too hard into that right-hander.
Yeah, and if you're wondering and thinking, well, hold on, it wasn't that dramatic a moment, I'm telling you, with the margins as tight as this, when it comes down to hundredths...
He's not improved in the middle sector from his previous best.
Fallen away.
It's crucial.
And this is the time where you do need to improve. One wide moment like that can change the entire game. The checkered flag is waving on the main straight. The Welshman Otis Lawrence has one corner to go. Now, can he find himself going up through the gears? Can he make it up in that third and final sector? Give himself a chance in the top 10. Your answer is he's up to fourth, ahead of Gall, who has opted out of this one. Next one to Alfie Butcher, last year with Haas, now in McLaren, now to the line, and he goes to second.
Gall could be in trouble here, 6th and not out there. And we've got a lot of improvements. Freddie Rasmussen to 3rd. What about Joni Tormela? It's only 9th for him, so he's right on the cusp. Gall's going to be very close.
That's a ticket to Trouble Town for Joni Tormela. He is right on the bubble at the moment. And Gall slips down to 8th position. Jake Benham then, looking for a clean lap, looking for a quick lap. Can he find both as he comes now across the line? Fassi's gone quickest of anyone so far. Drop zone does not include Jake Benham. He's managed to get himself to 7th position. Thomas Gall is knocked out. Alvaro Carreton has managed to keep it into 10th position. Donoso gets to 9th. Jarno Opmeer is the driver in 4th place. Danny Beresnay stepped forward to P5 to eliminate Carreton and Gall. Tormela, Josh Edu, Lucas Blakely. Is there still time for improvement? And we go over the line. The answer is no. Big names falling once again. We're coming to expect it. It's happening all the time, and we find ourselves with a scrambled top 10 once more. Carreton, Gall, who didn't run at the end there, Tormela, Edu, and Blakely are out in the second part of qualifying.
A mistake from Haas, it has to be said, with Gall. Wanted that extra fresh set of tyres for Q3, thought they were safe. They missed out by 0.02 of a second to Donoso, who ended up in 10th. Both Aston Martins through to Q3, very impressive. Both Mercedes as well with Beresnay and Benham. But yeah, Gall, Haas, they'll be kicking themselves for that one. Carreton so close. He missed out well, he was 4,000ths quicker than Gal was. So they're all very much in a very tight bunch there. Tormula, Edu's a surprising one, and Blakely as well, previous champion, down in 15th for Blakely, and just missing a bit of speed. In fact, I think he invalidated his last lap.
Yeah, it wasn't
and
a personal
would that
best.
have been enough? No. Oh my goodness me. He would have made it by 1,000th of a second.
You're
he
right.
Would have beaten, well, but I'm going to say he would have gained 1,000th of a second by invalidating, so perhaps not, but so close.
It depends where, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It
exactly.
depends where. If it's 21-22, without doubt, you would have lost time if you kept it within the white lines. But man, if he had a time good enough to make it through, at least according to our information. And that is another big moment. Okay, let's hear from one of the drivers who has been knocked out in the second part of qualifying. Lucas Blakely is speaking to Claire Cottingham.
Disappointment, of course, to see Lucas Blakely at this point in qualifying, and I'm sure, Lucas, for yourself, this feels disappointing as well. What is it about Jeddah that was a struggle today?
No, I mean, it's quite simple. I just invalidated the first corner. You have to cut it, go over the curb, and just went a little bit too much, and it took, I mean, lap was over before it started. I mean, I finished the lap and it would have been through, so it's, yeah, incredibly disappointing. Obviously not what you wanted, but what I wanted, but yeah, just can't change it now. Got to get on with it. At least we have one car in Q3 with Alfie, who did a really good lap and did a great job. So yeah, I can't change it. You know, obviously not very happy at the moment, but yeah, we'll just get on with it.
Safe to say it's been a tricky couple of days for you, hasn't it?
It's not been what I wanted. That's for certain. It's certainly not up to my standards. You know, I think it's not been the start of the season, and you know, there's obviously a lot of things that we will reflect on and go and sort of basically do our homework on going into the next two events in the coming months and coming weeks. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm focused on here and now, and yeah, I'm just really disappointed not to be in Q3 because I mean, it's you've got to be consistently in these sessions, and ultimately, yeah, it was never good. I don't think it was going to be like nothing was ever going to be like a straightforward transfer to the next session. But I just think, yeah, disappointed, and yeah, I mean, the chance was over before it even started, you know. So yeah, disappointing. Can't really find all the right words at the moment, but yeah, I know we can, especially in the race that can be quite probably really chaotic later. You know, the opportunities it's absolutely still there. So we just got to get our heads down and get on with it.
How do you keep it clean from there? Jeddah famously, like you say, can be quite chaotic, and I know in Bahrain you had a couple of issues with your front wing as well. So how do you kind of keep this one clean?
Yeah, I mean, I've not had the luckiest of times, that's for sure. I mean, when it's going good, it somehow finds a way of going wrong, and yeah, you have these moments as well, which are obviously tough to swallow. But you know, nothing can really faze me at this point. I've been through way worse than this, so yeah, I'm still somehow finding a way to smile through it all, and yeah, just got to keep it clean. Jeddah's chaotic, so you never know what can happen. Just got to keep my eyes forward, and I'm just rooting for Alfie to have a good rest of the qualifying.
Absolutely, you're a tough one. Well, thank you so much for talking to us.
No worries.
Well, we are ready and building up to the final part of qualifying for the final round of F1 Sim Racing's Event 1. Q3 about to begin. Let's check in with another driver in the field.
Nice one, guys. Nice.
Good job, Fab. Let's go. I think us and Mercedes are the only two teams that have both our drivers up.
Oh my god. Man. Last sector I took it so safe.
You made it so much.
Yeah, great job, Fab. Well done.
Yeah, good.
So encouragement on the radio there. Lovely to hear.
Aston Martin.
Yeah.
I was trying to guess who it was.
Yeah.
Then they said Fab.
Yeah. Great stuff. And a lap that meant a lot. And so you've got two Aston Martins. And I tell you what, at the standards of this season, two cars in Q3, very, very impressive stuff.
And such a massive opportunity as well.
Really
for point scoring in the final race of Event 1. To have both Aston Martins there, of course, Otis Lawrence doing a brilliant job this season so far, but to have a teammate there, a rear gunner, perhaps in Donoso is brilliant for them and will instill them with confidence as we head into Q3.
So Q3 with Jarno Opmeer, Tom Manley, Fabrizio Donoso, Fab, who you heard referred to a few moments ago. Then Danny Beresne, Freddie Rasmussen, our reigning champion, Jake Benham in his first qualifying session of the season, Thomas Ronhaar, then Alfie Butcher, Otis Lawrence, and the driver we're looking at right about now, Ismail Fassi, who is heading down to turn 27. It's going to be busy later on. It's going to be frantic. Piccadilly Circus stuff down there as we make our way through on a Thursday evening. Competing here in Sweden, a wonderful facility, a wonderful collection of talent. But who's going to take our 4th pole of the year? This is interesting. I think there've been little hints here and there, but you can make a case for so many drivers in the field. What do you reckon? There's between 5 of them, maybe fewer?
I think it's between 10 of them, to be honest with you. I think it would be silly to say anything else after what we've seen
Trying
this
to tempt you into a silly prediction.
I like that. I like that. I think this one's Ronhaar's. I reckon Thomas Ronhaar, he needs a pole. He needs something he basically needs to dominate a race. I don't think that's possible this year. But starting from the front in this particular track in Jeddah is so important. Not purely just so that you can try and win the race, but also to stay out of the carnage.
Yeah.
Of course, we might well see a carnage for the lead, and we saw that in Bahrain, but you have a much better chance of surviving if you're towards the front than in the middle of the pack going into that first sector where people are going to be jostling for position. There's Otis Lawrence, exuding confidence, 16 years old. It's an incredible story. Very, very similar to what Alfie Butcher did last year in terms of taking the limelight here at this F1 Sim Racing World Championship. And we see him now out on track on an outlap. I'm going to ask you as well, Alex. You know, I've said a name. Who do you think?
I think Otmir has looked consistent at key moments. I wonder if he is going to find the pace. Yeah, I think I'm going for Jarno Otmir.
Jarno Otmir, okay. So, of course, qualifying being a tiny weakness in his armoury.
It's a weakness, but this is a different type of challenge, isn't it? This is not rotate the car a ludicrous amount through certain corners. I just wonder whether it might give him an opportunity to, rather than place it in P5, maybe you can knit it all together. We will see. Yeah, traditionally, as you say, qualifying, the only part of his attribute list that isn't sky high all the time. But yeah, maybe. I just sensed at certain points. Tom Manley's having a really good session so far, isn't he? Danny Beresne, you feel like he could be at any point of the circuit. Freddie Rasmussen looking to bounce back, a driver that is a complete opposite of wearing your heart on your sleeve. But you want to bounce back when you're the reigning champion and you want to play yourself back into form. So he's got to balance that. That is the precarious turn 21 and 22. And then you've got drivers like Jake Benham, desperate to stake their claim, and Fabrizio Donoso's pumped up. Here's his teammate, Otis Lawrence. We're on board with him. He's chasing his best out there as he takes the tightest possible line. They know from their many practice laps that you can't fit a full card's width over that white line, so they go as tight to the wall as possible through the first part of the lap.
Oh, it's great to watch Lawrence avoiding the mistake that Blakely made by invalidating in that first corner, and Lawrence looks really committed at the moment. His first sector was a 31.542. That's very competitive indeed for the Aston Martin driver. Nicely hugging the wall on the inside, on the power very early. And yeah, it's just constantly just ferocious through here. Look at the commitment from Lawrence as he taps the wall. Little love tap on the right there from Lawrence. He'll get away with that. What about the next few corners coming up? This one very, very important indeed for Lawrence, and track limits in particular. And just look at that. It's so good to watch. There are very few corners that are as mesmerising as that one, Alex.
It's an incredible risk versus reward conundrum for the drivers in 21 and 22. This is the highest corner count on the entire F1 Sim Racing calendar. And now Otis Lawrence, well, it's looked absolutely rapid. Great to go on board with him. And everyone will try and find an answer to the benchmark of a 26.4. Danny Beresne can't find it. What about Donoso? He's made it an Aston 1-2 right now. Jake Benham, confident about his chances coming into this one. Not at this stage. Now, Jarno Opmeer, let's see whether he can get on terms with the Aston Martins out front. Into the DRS zone he goes, across the line, and he goes fastest of anyone so far. Look at the margins there, 6 thousandths of a second. Enter Rasmussen, only in third position, our winner from last year in terms of this race and the World Championship. Alfie Butcher in the McLaren. The sole remaining McLaren is heading to the line. Enormous speed, can he get there? Fifth place is exactly what he was looking for. Here is our championship leader, Matt.
Ismail Fassi, how's his lap looking so far? It's pretty competitive. Let's see where he ends up. It's fastest of all. That is a huge final sector from Fassi. A 10th clear of anybody.
Manley
as we have
goes
Tom
third.
Manley into third as well.
So Fassi to the front by 400ths of a second. Manley coming off the back of a really good P4 yesterday.
The same time as Opmeer.
Absolutely ridiculous. Opmeer set it first. Opmeer has the higher position as a result. That's the rule with an identical time, but you're a smart, good-looking bunch. You knew that already. Ron Hart still in the pits, trying something different. And Benham, we believe, is he? Yeah, he invalidated on his last push.
He did indeed. Yeah, he did indeed. Yeah. So Benham, the only driver after attempting a lap to not put one on the board. That puts an extra level of pressure on him to put a flyer in at the end. Ron Hart, yeah, not out there at the moment. So one fresh set of tyres for Ron Hart to go out there and set a lap. There's Fassi.
Matt, we were looking at Otis Lawrence on board. Thrilling lap. Really enjoyed riding on board with him. The idea that there's more time to find out there than what we saw. It is hundredths of a second around a lap time that is 3.8 miles, 6. Let me see in the darkness, 1 kilometres. So that where do you assess? Do the drivers will instantly know where there is a little bit left on the table, surely. But when it's so close, I mean, Opmeer and Manley, identical lap times over such a strong stretch. And look at the half smile on Ismail Fassi's face. He, I think, couldn't believe what was happening on day one. Expectations have risen by day 3.
He's relishing in it though, as well, isn't he?
Yeah,
He's not fazed at all by this spotlight that's on him at the moment. And there were some close moments in Bahrain. He maybe was a tad lucky with some moves that went on to not be facing the wrong way or for his race to unfold and unravel away from him. But he's
driving as riskily as you do when you do the track demos for us sometimes.
Yeah, well, yeah, there you go. No, we haven't done a track demo in a while, and thank God for that. But yeah, Fassi, once again, fastest in Q3 at the moment. Of course, 1 run to go. But if he's able to get 3 qualifying poles in 4 races...
it's mighty. It's mighty, and he's not making
always seems to be
he's made a name for himself
exactly.
in just 3 days.
And he always seems to be the right end of a 1,000th or 100th to be faster than someone else. Like, this is such tight margins. Opmeer, Manley and Lawrence separated by 6 thousandths of a second. Fassi, a whopping 400ths clear. That's domination at this league. Then Rasmussen a 10th back in 5th. Then we've got a bit of a gap with drivers that have either gone on an older set of tyres or just made a mistake. So it can all change. We cannot forget Ron Hart as well, who's not been out there for his final run. There he is. What can he do with 1 lap in Q3? But yeah, once again, just this Q3 is so stacked. It's such a stacked lineup, and this could change and turn on its head, as it has done many, many times.
Fabrizio Donoso ready to produce his best. He, at the moment, has a time good enough for 6th position. He'd be delighted with that. He wants to move forward, though. They all do, apart from our championship leader, Ismail Fassi, Spanish driver, trying to cling on to an advantage of exactly 400ths of a second that he has over 2nd and 3rd. Opmeer and Manley setting identical times. And I sense the shade you chucked me for my Opmeer prediction earlier on. I heard that.
No shade. I was merely asking a question. I can't throw any shade about predictions because look at what we've seen so far this year.
It's so true. It's so true.
But no, Opmeer right up there. And once again, like I said in China, if Opmeer is in the top 5, you're thinking and probably betting on Opmeer to win the race.
Yeah. His race pace so prestigious. We've seen that on his way to multiple championships. Jake Benham is just behind his teammate, so he invalidated. We've had no lap time attempted by Thomas Ron Hart, according to my timing graphic. And we're in the build-up phase, fighting over track position, ready to sort it all out in terms of the grid order for the final race of round 1. Can Fassi make it an extraordinary 3 out of 4 pole positions? I love this wide as possible line from Freddie Rasmussen. Is he saving the best to last? It's another commentary question that is going to be answered in about 1 minute and 26 seconds.
Beautiful stuff, Alex. How much is Freddie Rasmussen and the rest of the drivers willing to risk? That is what this circuit is all about, risk versus reward. How confident are you in the setup that you have in that car? Freddie Rasmussen negotiating the first couple of corners very nicely indeed, so close to the inside wall on the left there. Freddie Rasmussen has to bounce back in this championship. He has to do it now. It's been a disaster up until this point. But can he do it? He's a champion. He's the reigning champion. We know he's got the speed. He's got the consistency. He's got the records. But can he deliver now?
1 point after 3 races for the reigning champion, who is out of turn 13. So now, can he deliver through these sequence of corners where the speed is high all the time? How much speed are you willing to throw in? It's neat, it's tidy. Is it as aggressive as the other 4 who were ahead?
Otmir 1/10 quicker than his teammate. Otis Lawrence has gone a 0.5 quicker than Otmir out there. It's the fastest first sector of all for Lawrence, but Freddie Rasmussen is purple in the middle.
Big moment for Freddie Rasmussen. So he's delivering when he needs to, and now it's about taking it all the way to the line. We've seen brilliant laps unfold at the very end. In the real thing, in F1 sim racing, can we see a change in provisional pole? Freddie Rasmussen to the line. Freddie Rasmussen to provisional pole position. Alfie Butcher's next up for McLaren. Where does he climb to? The answer's P6. You're looking for Jarno Otmir now. Another former champion, another driver taking provisional pole by 100th of a second, and Otis Lawrence. The 16-year-old had it for a second. The championship leader snatches it out of his grasp. The Williams man is fastest. Donoso's over the line in 7th. Benham has not got a lap time on the board. Where's Ronha? Where is Ronha in this mix? As Manley goes P3, Ronha is only in 6th place. And it's going to be 3 poles out of 4 for the man in form. Ismail Fassi is having the time of his life. He's dancing all the way to the front. And once again, Fassi will start from the front of the field.
Fassi on pole again. 0.06 of a second separating Fassi and Lawrence at the front row. Tom Manley once again delivering in 3rd. Jarno Otmir 4th. His teammate Freddie Rasmussen in 5th. That was a great qualifying session. But again, Fassi and Williams, they've got something this year. They figured out something within the game, within the setup of that car to deliver not once, not twice, not 3 times, 4 times, Alex. And 3 poles. That's 3 extra points in the kitty. Thank you very much.
Yeah, really, really important. 3 out of 4 for old pole position man. The championship leaders done it again. It's Fassi and Lawrence on the front row for our 4th race of the year.
Excellent stuff there, gentlemen. And what a great race we have got on our hands. At 2100, that is the time. We've set it, we've remembered it. But look at this. I mean, as it has been alluded to, we are all pretty much staying in the same hotel, and those Williams guys, you will never see them one on their own. They're always in a pack, and I think that is a pack mentality they've come into this event with, and it's working.
Hadn't won a race in this championship before the start of the year, and now they're turning up and putting P1 next to their name for fun.
Well, they're so quick as well. They even took our taxi outside after the show, didn't they?
I wasn't going to bring it up, but it's very true. And we both had the same driver on our list. And when we
I wish we'd had Fassi. That would have solved the whole thing. Would have solved the whole problem.
I tell you what, we'd have got here a little bit quicker to event number 1 on our race 4. However, interesting stuff. I want to just bring up one point. I know don't want to go too far back Q2 because we are going to talk to Ismail Fassi, or we'll definitely be talking to Claire Cottingham. I felt for Claire because every time she got up, she was like, right, I'm heading over to Aston. Wait a minute, I'm over to the Racing Bull. She kept not knowing where to head to. just go near the Williams. You've got your best chance of finding your pole sitter there. But in Q2, that moment for Thomas Gal, I mean, the Haas team are kicking themselves. No points so far in this championship. What was going on there? They were just so confident, and yet you hear from another engineer, we didn't know what times we should be looking for. It's all gone out the window.
Yeah, I mean, it's question marks for them, it's question marks for us, it's question marks for everyone watching as well. And that's brilliant to watch. I think from Haas's perspective, they will be looking back at this event and going, we should have a handful of points.
Yeah.
Easily. The drivers are quick enough. There's been questionable strategies with the soft tyres in China, for example. Then you now have this as well, trying to save a set of tyres for Gal to go into Q3 and then not making it. It's a pie in the face, really, isn't it? Because he had the speed. They just decided to take the gamble, which didn't work.
One thing I've learned, never tell Ismail Fassi how many points he's got, because he's definitely picked up another one, Claire Cottingham. Ismail Fassi is your pole sitter for Jeddah.
Another one indeed. 3 out of 4 pole positions. At this point, I'm starting to struggle what to say. How did you do it? What did you unlock in Jeddah this time?
To be honest, Jeddah for me was the track where I felt like I was most confident out of all 4. I PB'd in Sector 1 in session, which is something that I think I've never done. Even last season, I've never PB'd in any sectors of any of the laps I've done. Sector 2 was also very, very good. And then on the last corner, I was, the pressure of I was on a very good lap. I was actually going to improve my PB. And yeah, I took it very carefully. I thought I lost too much time. But yeah, it was enough for pole, so very happy.
Very happy indeed, I'm sure. We just saw Marcel run through here because he's going to go talk on the desk in the moment, I'm sure. And he said that was one of the best laps that he had ever seen. Talk me through what he said to you, because I could only half hear it, but it sounded very interesting.
I mean, he told me that I was coming for a mid one, which is a mega lap, which is just a perfect lap. But yeah, I was just trying to make a good last corner, a decent one to secure that lap time, because I knew I was coming very fast. I just saw, I just saw the delta on Sector 1. I was like, what am I doing? What's happening? And yeah, I was really scared. But yeah, enough for pole.
Definitely enough for pole. We were watching just at the end as all the times were tumbling in, which we often see during qualifying sessions. Just behind you, we're watching a replay, it looks like there, of your final lap. Did you know that you were on for pole position before you crossed that line?
No, because I heard Otis. I don't think he shouted, but I heard him. He was happy, so I thought he was already in the main straight, so I thought he did a good lap. But yeah, mine was a little bit better, so good.
You're going to have to bring this, though, into the next round. We've got 2 more rounds to go, obviously, and whatever you've unlocked, it's the point where you're hoping every other team doesn't unlock exactly the same thing. Can you pinpoint, you don't need to tell me, but can you pinpoint what it is that has become so special about your laps and also about the team so far moving forward this round?
I don't think it's anything, just driving, giving the hours needed, and yeah, like I said, the setup, Jeddah for me was the best track. Even last year, I knew it was one of my best tracks. So yeah, I'm pretty happy that I got pole here. But yeah, races isn't going to be easy. It's going to be the most chaotic one of all 4. So yeah, just looking forward to it, to keep securing points and give my best.
Most chaotic of the 4. I fear that Alex and Matt may faint by the end of it. Thank you so much. Congratulations, it's pole position again.
Thank you.
I don't know if anyone else is feeling this, but a real sense of deja vu. It just feels like yesterday, the interview, exactly the same with Ismail Fassi. Incredible for him, 3 out of 4. He mentioned there about what it is that he's doing, what it is that they've unlocked. We heard from Lucas Blakely, his disappointment again. Homework for the teams and the drivers going away from Event 1. There's definitely going to be lots of that.
Yeah, there's going to be some head scratching going on, to be honest, because this is now deep into the first event, coming to the end of the first event, and some drivers that were used to winning titles don't have the form to even make the top 10 shootout. He'd be disappointed if he was constantly 9th, let alone getting knocked out. So yeah, head scratching, he's not the only one, but Got to say, we're going to have to change the commentary for the remaining rounds, aren't we? Because it's no longer a shock to see a world champion go out in the early stages.
Not at all. And I do love the phrase, Matt, the big hitters. Not the old guard, the big hitters making way. Shout out to the Aston Martin team. Fab Donoso, he was so elated to get into Q3. That's the first time both Aston Martin drivers have got into... Oh, here he is. Speak of the devil, and he will appear. I don't know if we should have this both wearing black combo. Who wore it best? It's the chain.
Yeah, I didn't get the memo that we were going.
It was great yesterday, wasn't it? So,
Marcel, you had a comment with Ismail about how perfect that lap was. Tell us thoughts on that quali.
I mean, the quali in general was, again, like shocker in Q1 with Ferrari. Blakely also had nothing in Q2, or was it already Q1?
Blakely, Q2, yeah, 15th.
But in general, just, again, the big hitters, like you say, they dropped out. Then the youngsters coming through again, Otis and Isma. And Otis super disappointed with P2, even though it was such a good lap. But Isma is just... Actually, I have to say he's clear of all of the drivers on the grid right now.
What I love as well was the fact that he said he took the last sector really easy. I looked at the sector times. There was one driver that went faster than him in the final sector on those last flurry of laps.
Amazing.
So how easy was it really?
It was really easy, actually. no, actually, because he had I think, 26 or whatever it is, 0.4. And his delta was going into sector 3, I think 246 up. And then at the end, it was like 1.7 or something. So he nearly lost 1 full tenth just by... He knew it's such a good lap. I could not believe it. His first sector, he already gained 1 tenth on a lap that was already so good. He would have already been, I think, top 3, top 4, something like that. And then he still improved even further. So I don't know what to say. This guy is crazy. Coco Loco.
I love it. Freddie Rasmussen, Jarno Otmir needed to deliver for Red Bull. They've done that, making it into Q3. Tom Manley, there's a name that we didn't mention as much as we are this season. Otis Lawrence will be very happy with the front row there. Thomas Ronhard, in terms of your analysis, all these names that we could say from the top 10, where would you like to steer this conversation, Marcel?
I would like to just focus a little bit on the mistakes from the big guys. I had one from Freddie. I mean, he still did a good quali, but then also Lucas's mistake and Bari. It was actually this time nothing with slipstream, nothing else. It was literally just driver error. And I know how it feels. In 2022, I also made a lot of mistakes, and I was kind of like, how is this happening? And especially from a guy like Bari, every year he's like known as top 3 easily, even top 1 on most tracks as the hot lapper. And suddenly changed.
So how could that have got... We heard from the Ferrari team. They got the pace wrong. They didn't know what that pace would be and what those times to expect. So how can that go wrong? How give us a bit of context for that, Marcel.
So I mean, all of the teams, they're testing the setups, and they think at some point they're doing a good job. They don't have references from other teams, or maybe from some, but obviously the top guys that think they have something slightly more, they usually don't share that. And if you think, okay, maybe we are in the mix, we are maybe doing a 0.2, whilst Isma, they don't know about Isma, and Isma is in the 0.1s at home, they're like, oh, we're actually quite good. Then they arrive here and they realize we're missing another 10th. And that is, even though the cars are equal, the car setups still matter, and also car setups depending on driving style. And Isma just perfected everything here. Like, honestly, when you see the lap, this is... It's unreal, honestly. Like I'm getting goosebumps just watching and talking about it, because I sat up there and I could not believe what I was seeing.
Stop teasing us, Marcel.
Oh, come on,
we want to see something.
No, I need to tease you a little bit further, because now we're getting into the things that I witnessed already in Q1. On the pit lane entrance, Frederick overshot a little bit. I mean, the drivers, they actually can speed into the pits because they, in quality, it doesn't matter too much, but he overshot a big time and then hit the back of the Haas driver, which I don't think is going to turn into a big penalty, but it could end up in a warning, because in the end he made contact there, lost his wing, but it got repaired right away. And now the big moment in Q1, Bari Bormand. Already here in the first sector, you can see the steering wheel just twitching ever so slightly. He's drifting away from the wall. You want to be closer to the wall here. And yeah, he's just losing time. Look at his delta in the top right. He already lost half a tenth. And here he continues with another mistake, touches the wall, and it's just game over for him with that. Honestly, he couldn't recover from that. His delta was too slow, and in the end he finished P19, which obviously the Ferrari driver, that's not a standard. He wants P1 like yesterday in Bahrain. And now also one more mistake, and that is from Mr. Blakely in the McLaren into turn 1. He took a little bit of a Mario Kart line, cut a little bit too much of the corner. And yeah, like we mentioned, the track limit is the white line. And the white line, as you can tell, it is right here. And he, unfortunately, went a little bit too far. And then you could see it popping up at the top of the screen, invalidated lap time. That was already it. So the lap time started and it was already over. And like you said, he probably gained this 1,000. Like this was a big cut. So I think he only has to blame himself there. Sometimes it happens, but is what it is. A lot of pressure, difficult track. He tried his best. Go again next time. And the race is still all to play for. So yeah, now I will stop teasing you.
Here we go.
We're going to have a look at the
Come
lap.
on.
We are going to compare his lap to his main championship rival at the moment, Jarno Opmeer. So we have Ismar on the left, then Jarno on the right. And just imagine, Ismar was already on theoretical pole. And now look at his delta, the green delta. Look at the perfection with the turn. It just looks so smooth. And he already gains 1/10 out of this corner. We are just at corner 2 exit. Now he flicks it into the left, super close to the wall, early on the power, stays tight. Now again, super close, just smooth, but he doesn't look like he's actually under pressure. It's like his first lap, warm-up, he doesn't get hooked on any of the curbs. It just looks like the car has a perfect balance. The driver is fully in control. Purple in sector 1.
It was a PB as well, wasn't it?
Yes.
That's the fastest sector he's done in practice.
That's what I'm saying. I heard his best lap was a 1.9 in practice, and he was up for a mid-1. That is unbelievable. Under this pressure, and it just looks so smooth. He's already up, look, 2.5 tenths. I was not kidding. That is on a 4.0 lap time. And it's unreal. I could not believe what I was witnessing there. And now it's getting a little bit slower, but to be fair, he didn't get the curb right there. He was probably not pushing that much anymore. In the final corner, he knew it's still 2/10 improvement, so it could still be his PB lap time. But he doesn't need to the PB. It's enough if he's half a tenth or a tenth off from that.
So what does he do in that final corner to ensure that he gets pole by losing that 700ths or whatever it was? Is it just braking a little bit earlier, making sure you get the turn in?
Yeah, he just didn't do it for Verstappen. He didn't hit the wall on the exits.
You said that, not me.
Sorry.
I just find that phenomenal that he didn't even achieve that as a PB, and it happens now. Do you think that's coming because of the form he's showing, because of the win under his belt? He's had 2 poles before this. Does it breed more confidence? And do you know what? Yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm locked in, more so.
I'm not sure, because Ismar always seemed to me like a guy, he doesn't really feel the pressure that much. Obviously they're excited. They all have some kind of nerves, but he just seems so cool and relaxed all the time. Like whenever you put the camera on him, he's never out of breath. He's never like tense. He always looks the same. He looks like a happy little kid in his rig and just does his job, and afterwards he's celebrating with his team. He can do it again and maybe even more tonight, so yeah.
He's just a happy little kid in his rig.
There he is.
Look at him.
Rapid. Incredible stuff there. Let's look at the track then, Marcel. That's something else that you wanted to shine a light on before we go racing later on.
Yes, so the key moments of the track, obviously, there's a couple that stand out at Jeddah. Turn 1, it's a long straight, actually one of the longest, but technically everything is a straight on this track with a couple of corners. Heading into the first corner, hard braking zone, and you can see the drivers can also get track limits like Lucas did in turn 1. Also turn 2, if you cut a little bit too much, then leading into the second chicane of the circuit, turn 4 and 5, it's very difficult to not clip the inside wall, because if you get it wrong, then you can easily pick up front wing damage, or even worse, you can lose your front axle on the front left. Sector 1 is just fast flowing, nearly flat out, just a little lift in turn 9, then back onto the power, and then breathe before braking into turn 13. Also another very long sweeping left-hand corner, which leads into another full throttle section. Like, there's so much high speed going on. I think the slipstream trains, they are actually gonna be wild. Like, in this whole track, as soon as the pit lane is open, these guys are gonna go mayhem on each other. Like they are gonna send it to gain the track position, and we're gonna continue here and here and here. It's literally just flat out. One more difficult corner. Okay, we actually have 2 zooms. Sorry, that's my bad.
I wondered what that button was on the wheel with the M on. It's for mayhem.
It's mayhem, yes. No, it's actually the mark button, but that's fine. Turn 22 and 23. Another difficult corner where we also have seen in real life drivers actually crash into the wall if they pick up the inside on the left, and then it's another DRS zone until the final corner. Turn 27, one of the best overtaking opportunities, and this is already the end of the Jeddah Corniche racetrack.
When we say
danger, sorry, that's what I was
thinking. P2 is usually the spot we say that's what the drivers want into the last lap. Are we talking P3 tonight? Are we talking further back than that? Probably not. But does third still have a chance on the final lap?
I think technically up to P5.
Oh, okay, wow.
But,
all right.
But it depends.
Pray for us.
It depends on the chaos, because if P1 and P2 do something similar to what Jarno did in China, then even P1 is kind of safe. If he creates a gap and he has enough ERS and maybe he has even less wing in terms of like aerodynamic drag on the straight, then he can maybe even defend the DRS guys and be ahead into the final corner. If you're not alongside into the final corner, then it's pretty much game over and you should be settled for the win. So.
We'll tell you what, look out, Otis Lawrence. Could he get his maiden win in this championship? He'll have to look a little bit back. Behind him, up to 5th, says Marcel. However, I'd love to hear the comms from that quali from the Aston Martin team.
Fab, I saw your leg shaking like crazy on the left corner of my eye. Yeah.
Really?
You were like...
I didn't notice it, to be fair.
So, Fab, I saw your leg
You didn't notice the leg shake there, but that's what it needs to Fab Donoso. In the first race in Australia, he did not make it. He finished P13, so not make it into Q3. So here we go. Did we agree yesterday to bring everybody up to speed? Claire's corner. Is it Claire's?
I think it's Claire's corner.
Claire's corner. Okay, here we go. Claire is with Otis Lawrence right now.
Indeed, in my corner. Thank you for remembering it. Otis, you were just saying there that your teammate was saying that he saw your leg shaking throughout that qualifying session. And just at the end, we heard a little bit of emotion. It really felt that you thought you've got pole position. Unfortunately, it wasn't, but it's still an incredible qualifying position. How did it feel when you thought you got pole position? Unfortunately, it was taken away. But now that you've had some time to think about it, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling okay. It was a few attempts in the first sector. And a little bit in the last, but yeah, I'm happy. Firstly, GG's to Ismail. He done a fantastic job. He's currently shown why he's the quickest driver on the grid at the moment. So yeah, we need to try and catch him up somehow. I'm going to keep pushing behind the scenes to try and catch him. But yeah, he's done a fantastic job. I want to say good job to Fab Donoso as well. My teammate, he's done a fantastic job in quali as well at Jeddah. You know, he's got the lap in today. We're in good positions, so we're going to try and get some points for our constructors.
You've had your first F1 sim racing couple of rounds now. You're a rookie and you're sitting second on the grid for Jeddah. Can you see how impressive you are? Or is it still all a little bit, can you not see it? What are your feelings on how, you know, you've settled into the championship and how you're feeling now?
Honestly, you know, I'm just settling in, of course. I didn't have the best day yesterday. I lacked a bit of pace and a few mistakes, which can be, you know, obvious for a new person, but yeah, at the end of the day, I just never give up. I kept on going, and yeah, I'm here today second, and I'm going to try and get a good race today.
Now you know how to approach an F1 sim racing round. Are you going to change it for anything in a couple of weeks' time? We're back here in Sweden in a couple of weeks' time for the next couple of rounds. Will your preparation change at all? Are you going to be on the sim more or maybe less? Or
I think not much will change. I think driving too much will make you slower. Mm-hmm. You have to put in a good time. Don't drive too much because you probably lose a bit of skill due to just being burnt out. So you just got to put as much as you can, which is as good as you can. Yeah, just do my best. At the end of the day, you know, I'm P2 here. It's a good position. Not much needs to change. Maybe a little bit there, here and there in session, but you know, it's a good position. I know where to get it, so it's not as if I didn't know where the time was.
No, it's an incredibly impressive place to be. Ismail Fassi obviously getting 3 pole positions out of the 4 events we've had. Jeddah is a very chaotic track. We've heard this countless times from every single driver that I've heard from. How do you convert second place into a win?
I'm just going to keep it cool. Strategy is a lot in F1 sim racing, so we'll see what happens. I think I've got good pace in race, so we'll see.
Keep it cool. I have no idea what that means, so that's great. Thank you so much. Good luck for the race.
Thank you.
Yes, please. Give me some of whatever Otis Lawrence is having it. Incredible. What a debut season for the rookie. Let's have a look at the starting grid for when we come back in Jeddah at 2100 CET. Right then, Declan Barrett, his second ever race. Barry Brumman winning yesterday. He starts in 19th. Then moving our way up, Brendan Lee, the 2-time champ, looking for his first points in 18th, and also Joris Krozen looking for his first points in 17th. Then Nicholas Longue with it all to do, 2/10 behind Thomas Gao. Couldn't get out of Q1. He starts at 16th with Lucas Blakely, 1,000th of a second off getting into Q3, starts in 15th. And then teammates, Josh Ido, a lovely heavyweight lifter, according to Matt, will be with his teammate in 13th. Joni Tormala starting there, trying to get more points for Alpine. Thomas Gao starts in 12th. Alvaro Caraton will be looking for his 4th ever podium in the championship. He'll be in 11th. And then in 10th, the substitute driver coming on in, Jake Benham, his first race of the season. And then Fab Donoso, a.k.a. Mr. Shaky Leg, in the rig will be in 9th.
To be known as that, Tom.
No, not happy. No, okay. Danny Berezne will be looking for his 3rd podium of this season. Alfie Butcher starts in 7th, the McLaren Shadow driver. Thomas Ronau starts in 6th, with Freddie Rasmussen knowing what he is capable of. Only 1 point so far this season. Jana Watmir in 4th, and Tom Manley will start in 3rd. And your front row, you heard from him just a moment ago, Otis Lawrence, the Aston Martin driver, in 2nd, and Ismail Fassi, his 3rd podium of the season. There you go, starting grids, putting you on the spot. Marcel Kiefer, will Ismail Fassi be getting another win, or will we have a brand new driver taking their first win of the season?
Honestly, I hope it will be Otis. It would be amazing to see him win. I think he deserves it. Being a rookie, arriving here with this performance so far, he couldn't convert his great qualifying to great race positions. Even though he's got points, I think, in every single race, he still wants more. So I would be happy if Otis gets his first win.
Okay.
There he is.
There you go. Just walked past. Gave him goosebumps, did Ismail Fassi, but Marcel reckons Otis might take it. What about yourself, Matt, from what we've seen in quali?
Ooh, yeah, I was thinking Otis as well, but I'm not going to be the same, so I'm just going to go with Fassi. Why not? I mean, he's the man of the moment. He's the driver that's got the most potential and consistency at the moment in this championship, and I think you'd be silly to bet against him.
Okay, and from a commentator's perspective, what are you most looking forward to for this race later on after 2100 hours?
Hopefully still standing by the end of it. I have never known a race hyped up for chaos in prospect like this one, but we're going to enjoy every single moment of it.
I cannot wait. Let's take a breath before breaking, because it's a little bit of a break before we come back. After 2100 hours, I just saw it on the screen there, 21:30 CET. Right, we'll see you then. Thank you very much for joining us for Quali.